Hello and welcome to the Vandy Christian Network, VCN. We're coming to you online from the state of Virginia in Alexandria. What we're about to do right now is a one-on-one with His Excellency Ambassador Sidique Abou Bakarr Wai, the Ambassador of Sierra Leone to the United States of America. Welcome to the Vandy Christian Network, sir.
Thank you very much, Reverend Vandy.
Yes, sir. Well, we are excited for the fact that you are here. You know, for a Sierra Leonean network here in the United States to have the ambassador of Sierra Leone to visit our premises, I want you to know that we do not take it lightly, and we've been looking forward to this. And for you to accept our invitation to be here, I want to say thank you so much, sir. I want to go straight to the point. You know, let's look at you as an ambassador. I'm going to start off with you as an ambassador. Were you ever thinking of becoming an ambassador?
No. I never ever dreamt of becoming an ambassador. The only thing I always dreamt of, I wanted to do, was to be of service to my country. That's it.
And you know, you spent a greater part of your life in New York, you know, working for the New York government and the police, LAPD and all this. And now you say what you wanted to do was to just serve your country and serve your people. And now you are in that capacity as ambassador. Is this the kind of service you were thinking about?
Well, first of all, let me start by thanking you so very much for inviting me to a network owned, conceived, giving birth to by a Sierra Leonean. This is revolutionary. It's unprecedented. The fact that I'm here today, you say you're proud that I'm here today. I am proud that I'm here today because you are the example of what our country should be about. This studio is very much like the New York One studio, CBS studio, CNN studio. But guess what is so different about this studio? This is a Sierra Leonean studio. That Sierra Leonean studio gives me an opportunity to know that I'm at home and to engage in a dialogue, a conversation with someone about this whole new career that I never dreamt of. And I have to start by saying, from the onset, if I've done anything in this country, in this new position, shoulders like your own, that I sat on several great, wonderful diaspora Sierra Leoneans across this country. And what a blessing that 2 days before Christmas, and we're getting to the end of the year, that I'm invited to come into my own studio,
Yes.
my own home, to have a conversation on some of the most incredible things that nobody, including myself, thought we could do. But all of this, I should start by saying, it would have never been possible without the leadership of our president, Dr. Julius Maada Bio, who gave me the opportunity and the privilege to serve my country as I serve this country.
Wow.
As you've stated, working for New York City government, being a policy advisor to the police commissioner of the biggest and largest police department in the world. I didn't just be a job, but I created opportunities. I was the author of the first community partnership initiative for NYPD to improve police community relations. I was the author of the police body cameras, which everybody's talking about in the world. That body camera was not initiated by, conceived by any police. It was a civilian.
Wow.
And that civilian is Sierra Leone.
And that makes me proud.
Well, I give that credit to my nation's president, the people of Sierra Leone, my diaspora partners, and most especially also my former boss, the police commissioner of the city of New York 3 times, the Honorable Raymond Kelly. I still say today, in this United States, he remains the quintessential best police commissioner ever in the history of policing in the United States.
Wow.
That is a record. So I came from that cloth. I came from that baptism. I came from that species. And this is one of the things I always say to the police department of the city of New York. In the history of the police department of the city of New York, I'm the only one that ever served the police department and became a an ambassador to your country.
Well, that sounds great. But you know, I want to believe, Ambassador, that when you were appointed ambassador, what were your expectations? Because most times politicians are appointed to these positions. People who have served the political party, you know. But with you spending the best part of your life here, and you were working, you were comfortable, and then the president look at you and say, can you serve as our ambassador? And you have not been into the political arena of Sierra Leone, you know. How did you work that out?
Well, you see, I really want this message to go loud and clear in the whole country. President, retired Brigadier Dr. Julius Maada chose service to his people, a commitment to his people, than a political party. If somebody like him would take off his military uniform and lose before and come back again and run and win and the people to pick him, and then he decides on his own, I can't do this job by myself. I need to call on some people that could help me do this job. That commitment from somebody who gave up a lot to invite me to be given the opportunity to serve my country, to help him serve my country, was one of the greatest privileges any Sierra Leonean could have. Of course, I gave up a lot.
I was going to come to that.
I was a citizen of the United States.
You gave that up.
I ran for public advocate in the city of New York, the second highest position in the city of New York. As policy advisor, when I went everywhere, I was VIP. People are swimming across the Atlantic Ocean to get a green card. I had a green card. I had a blue card. I was a citizen. I gave that up because I believe in Madabio. I believe in our country. I said to my boss, this is exactly what happened. When I got the appointment, I went to Police Commissioner Andre Kelly. I said, Commissioner, I have this opportunity to serve my country. And knowing how brilliant Commissioner Kelly was always, he said, what are the terms and conditions of the job? I said, number one, I'm going to take a pay cut. That's number one. And number two, which was the one that got his attention, I have to give up my citizenship. He looked at me and said, are you crazy?
Crazy?
What people are fighting for here, you're going to give up that for your country? So I looked at him, I said, Commissioner, United States does not need me. Like you, being an Irish, your country, your ancestry, your heritage, you represent, you're a symbol of that heritage and that tradition. It's not the same, but if I can do something to help my country, that's why we came here. It is a challenge, but I'm willing to take the risk.
And you took it?
And I took it. And I tell you this, I haven't regretted it every once. Because coming here, and don't forget, besides the fact that I was working in the police department, I was the most recognizable African in this country. I was appointed to the National Democratic Party of this country so that anybody running for office, I'm part of it. Gave all of that.
You gave all of that up?
I gave up my pension. I gave up a lot of benefits. I don't even have a green card now. No blue card, no yellow card, nothing. But I'm proud to be a Sierra Leonean serving the best president our country has ever produced. And I'm saying that sincerely because I have watched him up close. His commitment to that country, I'm telling you, when you have an opportunity to sit one-on-one with President Madabio and listen to his vision for that country, it will be sinful for those of us who have been in movements to see somebody that gave up a lot. What are you giving up compared to what I'm giving up? It's nothing.
Okay, Ambassador, now I want us to look at when you took up office as ambassador of Sierra Leone to the United States. Let's look at the journey, the road path that you have taken, the road path that the embassy has taken. What is your relationship with the Sierra Leone diaspora here in the United States?
Well, let me say this, Professor journalist par excellence, that one of my greatest pride and joy in this position is not the title of ambassador. It's the relationship that I've built with the diaspora, Sierra Leone diaspora in this country. When I got appointed, it was a little difficult for them to approve my agreement. I don't know why, because perhaps I was an advisor to the Department of Homeland Security, I work in the police department, so people were saying, this guy,
he's a different breed.
he's a different breed. So it was a little bit of it. In fact, I could tell you, and I'm sure this is one of our mutual friends that you know, Mohammed Kosia. We were driving together. And then the call came, they said, Ambassador, they approve your appointment. So now, coming to this country, it was in New York City, where I was the homeboy there.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'm coming to
the great Washington, D.C.
The great Washington, D.C., which is your turf. But the good news is, and this is really the essence of this job, I had previous relationships with the Sierra Leone diaspora constituencies, not only here in Washington, D.C., but across the United States. In my role as president and national spokesperson of the United African Congress, which was the Pan-African umbrella organization serving the interests of Africans throughout this country. And I was part of the Concerned Sierra Leonean group, which was the advocate for constitutional and good governance reform in Sierra Leone. So I knew the activists here. I was no stranger to them. So now coming here, you just don't take that for granted. You have to build it. I made a calculated decision that embassies that are put here to serve, to represent the country, we who are given the opportunity, it is our obligation and responsibility to connect the resources of that embassy directly to the people, the sons and daughters that they serve. Without them, you can't do it. So I decided I was going to take the embassy of Sierra Leone to the community. My first priority was for us to align our vision with the president's vision of free education. So you co-chaired that event, and in fact, you are the co-chair for the Free Education Basket Fund. And let me tell you, since then to now, we've raised almost close to $50,000 to build a school of excellence in our country. If you go down, all of the stuff that the embassy has done, it has been in partnership with our diaspora. Mm-hmm. You look at COVID, that COVID-19, you were part of that. The Healthcare Sierra Leone set up a committee. We raised in material and financial resources in 3 months and contributed $7.5 million. This was the height of the COVID pandemic. The honorary consuls participated in that effort. When we were doing the independence of 60th independence anniversary, what did you guys tell me? Mm-hmm. Ambassador, step aside, what do you need? The embassy, the government of Sierra Leone didn't put a nickel. The diaspora paid and produced it. All we did was to say, we work together. Recently, in the fire tragedy, the tanker tragedy, in 48 hours, we were able, through the support of the diaspora, working with Healthcare Sierra Leone, to mobilize professionals to go to Sierra Leone to help the burn victims in Sierra Leone. In 48 hours, we were able to mobilize the government of the United States to send supplies to help those burn victims. In 48 hours, the Sierra Leone diaspora and our friends raised money, almost $13,000 to $15,000, to say, yes, it's good to give medication, this and that, but we're going to take that money and share a little something to the victims' families. There was cash. And you know, one of our sisters who you know, Dr. Bernadette Sankor, Dr. Judy Koreansky, Gordon Tapper, they were all involved in that process. You and Dr. Bernadette, you moderated a memorial. For the first time in the history of Sierra Leone, we had a rabbi, a Jewish rabbi, to come and participate. And let me tell you what is happening now. From that situation, I said to myself, one day, I was in my study. I'm not kidding you, Reverend. This voice came to me, ask a very pointed question. With all of the mobilizations, the solicitations, every time you go to your friends, they deep in their pocket, they give you. If you go to Sierra Leone today, would you be able to see it? Evidence of it?
Because, to be honest, I was going to ask you that. In as much as I've been part of it, you know, all these resources that have been gathered here by Sierra Leoneans in the diaspora, because people didn't trust the government. The governments, I'm not talking about this particular, but governments across.
Yes.
People didn't trust them because they've been giving monies all across, and these monies were not going to the beneficiaries.
Okay.
So I was going to hit on that point now that you brought it up.
Okay. So here is the difference. You know that every single penny that is given to any cause in Sierra Leone has maintained the highest level of transparency and accountability. When we sent that barrel to Freetown, I think you are the one that even moderated for our own transparency, the provision of this thing, and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, in conjunction with that, we did a webinar, visual, so let everybody know what we were giving. And everybody that contributed, we sent their names. And we let everybody know how much money we collected. That was one thing. We did the same thing with COVID-19. Everybody that contributed. We did the same thing with Free Education Basket Fund. When I went to Sierra Leone, those COVID-19 goods and services that we delivered, I went to the warehouse to see for myself. And those things were distributed in the hospitals. Now, fast forward to this disaster that occurred.
The fire disaster.
The fire disaster. So I started thinking to myself, how do we really show the world authentic, verifiable diaspora contribution to our country's development and growth? And this is what I came up with. It's got to be based upon institutional capacity building. Fire disaster has woken me up. And I'm sharing that on your network for the first time. We cannot always give money, because people would say, oh, well, we'll give this, then what? Some emergency is going to happen.
Happen again.
So when we go home, what is there for us to see tangibly that what we did there, even though they distributed here, what is there to show that there's something that came directly from our efforts? So now I decided, with the support of my friends, I went to my friends in the corporate sector and said, when we had the disaster, the tanker disaster, we had all these professionals that came. They went to our country for a month. They did what they had to do. They had to bring their medical supplies. They had to bring their equipment. And when they left, what happened? They took everything with them. Our country is left the same way.
The same way, and the people are
The
still
people
there.
are still there. So I said to myself, to these corporate sector people, I said, you know what? My country does not have a burn unit. There's no burn unit in Sierra Leone, even serving the Mano River Union. I said, what I want to propose, I put it there. I mean, you got a copy of that letter. You know what? We're going to build something of our own. That's how you, my friends, could help me help our country. So, my friends, Dr. John Farmer, Paul Goldenberg, they said, Ambassador, you need to start to really think of building a center for excellence to coordinate these emergency services. Don't do it during the emergency. Do it now.
Do it now, so that when the
the emergency comes, you have it ready. So now here is what. That was music to my ears. So that when you build that center for excellence with emergency service coordination, you now could say, hey, here's a building. And this came exactly as a result of diaspora participation and involvement. So it would be a public-private partnership. When you want to raise money, you have something to raise money for. We run it. We provide those services for our country.
And if we get this built, this school of excellence, this
Center for Excellence,
this burn unit, if we get it built, how can we train up staff to work?
Exactly.
Because we can have the equipment,
Yes.
but if we don't have the know-how, then it's not going to make sense.
So therefore, this is going to come. It's a comprehensive package. They're going to have to train our people. So you can't build something that you're going to have to depend on expatriate services. So they will train our people.
Well, because that is what happens in Africa.
Exactly.
They allow people to come in and build something, and then they don't train the people.
No,
because they have to be getting them to come.
As part of the protocol, we're going to train our people. And those people are going to be proficient how to use this, so that when they expatriate, something happens, they have the place to operate. So how do we get there? Well, for the first time in the history of Sierra Leone in the United States, the Brennan Center of New Jersey is partnering with us to host the first international diaspora town hall engagement. They're hosting it in New Jersey, Rutgers University.
Wow.
And people like yourself are going to be a part of this, because there's a committee being formed now. And they're not talking about a piecemeal approach. It's a comprehensive public-private partnership. The government of the United States, the diaspora constituencies here, and these people in the corporate sector are coming together to say, how do we help these countries to have something that is sustainable? The person leading this effort was the vice chair of the National 9/11 Commission.
Well, Ambassador, I'll say, from Sierra Leone and what our people have been used to, especially from people in the political circle, is talk every day, is planning every day, is we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Oh, we have started this, we've started that. And then they'll keep saying that for the next 5 years and nothing is going to happen. So what you are saying here, can the Sierra Leonean diaspora and the people of Sierra Leone hold you accountable if this does not happen?
Let me put it this way. As long as I am in this country, and as long as I have Sierra Leoneans that are willing to partner with me,
That's right.
as long as I have corporate friends, I don't have $1 million to do this, Let's be just clear about that. All I have, you could hold me to it, is the goodwill that as long as I'm in this position, this will not be a talk shop. And I'm not saying Sidique is going to do this by himself. Sidique is going to do it in partnership with his brothers and sisters who love and care for their country.
Yeah, that's right.
And our friends in this country, because as you know, you always say, we got this.
We got this.
How do we get this? We got this because we have solid, good friends, people who are trustworthy, people who are reliable. And let me tell you something. We have submitted a proposal to Prosper Africa for a railway transportation initiative project in 4 countries in Africa: Sierra Leone, Guinea, Liberia, and Ivory Coast. We are the first in the history of this country among ambassadors to do that. So, the federal government is interested in that. You can't do it by yourself. Your people have to step up. What I'm saying, let us move away from the quick fix beggar mentality, but let us engage credible partners to build institutions that could outlive people like myself and yourself, so that when somebody goes home and says, boy, well, all that talking, what happened? You have a structure.
You have a structure. You have something to
You
say.
have something to do there. And then, here's the best part of this. That burn unit, once implemented in Sierra Leone, it's not only for Sierra Leone, the neighboring countries, because they don't have any. So the people who are going to be investing in this, that's why I said public-private partnership. When people get sick, where do they go? They go to Ghana. Why can't people, when they get sick in their countries, why can't they come to Sierra Leone?
Because
They
they
can't
don't
come
have
to
it.
Sierra Leone because you don't have anything. So we are losing millions and millions of dollars in services and in resources because we don't have the
Because we don't have
infrastructure.
it. Okay, well, you are watching us on the Vandy Christian Network, and we're having a one-on-one conversation with His Excellency Ambassador Sidique Abou Bakarr Wai, who is the ambassador of Sierra Leone to the United States of America. You've had all the things that he has done in partnership with the diaspora since he took up office. But now, Ambassador, in every place where people go, or in every workplace, the road is not always smooth. So I know that in this position, there have been some bumps on the way. So let's talk about that.
Well, first of all, I've always prided myself on transparency and accountability. I did not hire anybody in the embassy. Those people were inherited. So even creating the relationships with the outside world, I had to build the confidence of the people I work with. It is not always smooth sailing. But as a leader, your job is to let people understand that why are you here? What are you here to do? If they can put their focus on the goal, I'm irrelevant in that process. But my job here is to be fair, to reach out, to do as much as I can. And here's the biggest problem, the biggest thing that people should realize about this job. You need everybody. You need the top, the middle, and the bottom. I will do as best as I can to work with the people that I'm there, that I supervise.
That is a good thing. But now this next question is really very sensitive because from what we have seen, our country, Sierra Leone, has become so politicized, so divided. But you are here as an ambassador. And how are you working things out? Because most times people in political parties, that's why I say it is sensitive, because it is not their own political party that they support that is in power or that's appointed the ambassador that is sitting, they will say, oh, now we don't go to that embassy because it is because of the division that we're talking about. You have people who don't look at that. But you as ambassador, has this ever been a problem for you because you've been appointed by this government? How are you working in collaboration with other political parties?
Reverend Vandy, I have to tell you this honestly and sincerely. I have not experienced any of that, what you're describing here. And the reason is very simple. The embassy of Sierra Leone to the United States, which is the house of the people of Sierra Leone, the president of the Republic of Sierra Leone did not appoint me to that position to only serve as a PP. The president of the Republic of Sierra Leone is not only serving as a PP, he's serving the entire country. When he travels around the world, his focus is for the Sierra Leonean people. As I come here, I will say this from the bottom of my heart. What you just described, I have not experienced it here. Because I have people, you are a living proof of this. When we are doing something in the embassy, you have SLPP, APC, C4C, all kinds of political parties, and even people who are not a part of any political party. Again, it depends on that leadership. When you are there to serve a country, just because somebody is C4C and they are not in government, if somebody comes from that constituency and they have a need and they come to the embassy, your job is to help them. And give you an example. There were 2 murder cases in this country that were not solved for 4 years. I'm not going to name the families. Those families came to me at the embassy. They don't belong to the SLPP. I don't even know which political party they belong to, but they told me from the onset, they said, Ambassador, we are not from the SLPP, but we have had a situation in which our children were killed. We're being after these people here to address that. I got involved. I listened to the families. I brought the police department to my office. with the families. In less than 2 months, the kids that they could not apprehend in 2 months, they were able to apprehend them and bring those people to justice. Did I ask for their
No.
identity card? No. That family now knows that their country is here to support them. That's the kind of administration of it. And I mean, look at even my own heritage. I was born in the North. My father comes from the South. I went to school in the South. I speak Mende fluently. I speak Timini fluently. Do you think I'm gonna get involved in separation? No, my job is to serve as a bridge that brings people together to work for.
Why do people call you, or why do you refer to yourself as the people-tician? You're not a politician.
Well, I'm glad you asked that question too, because somebody asked me that question first. The way I look at politics is seasonal. You deal with issues, you move from one thing, you make these promises here, you make that promises there, with good intentions. But circumstances will come that totally moves that agenda out of the way. A politician believes in people. That's where you draw your strength.
That's right.
And the successes that I have gotten in this country in all my life, I didn't believe in politics. I believed in the people. And that's why today I have relationships that go 30 years, 40 years. That's the difference between a politician and
a people-tician. Wow, catch that one. The difference between the politician and the people-tician. Well, Ambassador, it's been such a pleasure to have you here at this network, and we still have more time for more conversations, because we want you to have a chance also to be talking to your people. I see you do that mostly on Facebook, but I want you to know that the network is here. It is the People's Network, and we want everybody to be a part of what we do. We cannot go against our morals, but we just want everybody to be a part. So before I let you go, the year is coming to an end, and you have the Sierra Leone diaspora here. Some have gone to vacation, but you are still here. But I want you to talk to them. I want you to look at them and talk to them. Just tell them straight from your heart.
I think, thank you so much, Reverend Vandy, and I want to also end on this note by thanking you for giving me this forum and this opportunity to speak to my people. I know, and I feel very strongly today, there are people out there who are wondering, this Christmas, what do they do for their families? There are people who may be even thinking, I don't know whether I'm going to have a job tomorrow. And there are people who have lost all hope. But this is where my religion comes in, my faith comes in. There is always a good God out there. And I believe this strongly. The world could be against you, but if God is on your side, you got nothing to worry about. And I know some of my brothers and sisters will be saying, it's easy to say that, but I want to leave this message. When you come to this country, you leave your families. You leave the comfort of your home to come here to get a better life. Always remember that no matter where you are today, you did not get there by yourself. And never ever forget the people whose shoulders you sit on. I've sat on your shoulder. I've sat on Kozi's shoulder. I've sat on many of my friends' shoulders. Relationships that are not based upon what are you going to do for me, but you get into that relationship with a real, true conviction that you're there as a servant of God. Believe me, you will not lose. So, my brothers and sisters, do not give up on your country. No matter how much luxuries and opportunities that you have here. Just the same way that now you see people driving Lamborghinis and all of that kind of stuff. You see people in Congress talking about their ancestors, where they came from, their great-grandfathers. Nobody's going to build your home if you don't build it yourself. So I will ask my brothers to not give up on their country. Look at Rwanda. They had their situation, but Rwanda. Look at Dubai. Everybody talks about Dubai. It was a desert. But look at what human ingenuity could do. Sierra Leone is 7.5 million people. And if we also believe in God, just like you always say, you, the religious people, that it's God that chooses people. That just that puts you in a position that you're going to be in today. No matter what anybody else wants to do, if God that says you are in that position, nobody could take it away from you.
That's right.
But when you are in that position, don't forget that God is giving you a loan and you got to pay it back to humanity. So that is my message. And I want to thank you. I want to thank all of my development partners, my staff, my colleagues in the diplomatic community who have given me the unique opportunity to be somebody here. I serve as Secretary General of the ECOWAS Group of Ambassadors, co-chair of Diaspora Engagement and Public Affairs for the whole African Union. They call me the 911. So, and I'm privileged and blessed that my friends, my partners in this country, the diaspora, the Fatmata Wuris, the Bernadettes, Sankors, the Vandys, and others, too many to call, have stood there to say, every time I ask them, they say, Ambassador sent me. So I also say to all of you, send me. I will go and do the people's business.
Thank you so much, Ambassador. It was so great, so great. And I look forward to having you again.
Yes, sir.
Some other time, because your people needs to be hearing from you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Well, thank you so very much out there. That was a one-on-one conversation with the Sierra Leonean ambassador to the United States of America, Ambassador Sidique Abou Bakarr Wai. I'm Pastor David Vandy, and this is the Vandy Christian Network. Thank you for joining us. I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a bright and prosperous New Year. God bless you.